There we go.
Good evening, Danvers. Welcome to the topics of the town news. And today is June 6th, 2024. And I have my favorite guest, Tony Betancourt.
How you doing?
But in addition, I also have two of my infamous turkeys.
There we go.
And I will name them for you because they have hit the news lately, and one of them is Steve Bartha, and the other one is David Lane.
Whoa.
So, and I didn't have the heart to put the third one on, which was for Mr. Shalufo, but they have all been involved in what's going on in town. We'll get to that in a little while. But for some good news, I and my friend have attended a opening at the Aroma Joe's, which is located at the Rocky's and Freddy's restaurant, little plaza in Middleton. And Aroma Joe's turned out to be a great find because we spent about 20 minutes discussing what was going on in the facility. And it's a brand new coffee shop, basically. And it is run by, well, who we spoke to was Katie Belland and Jamie Belland. And they are running this new business. So we made notice of the coffee shops in the town of Danvers, but this one shows up in the town of Middleton. So welcome to the North Shore, and I believe we'll have great drinks. And it is mostly coffee, espresso, but it also has energy drinks. So I don't know if we can put up the brochure again. There it is. We had both I had coffee or espresso-based coffee.
Okay.
And my friend had an energy drink.
Okay.
And boy, that does invigorate him.
Okay.
So, no names mentioned.
Understood.
So, welcome again. Our leaders, the agenda are solely, and opinions are solely by the topics of the town host, our guests, and contributors and commentators that we have in our community. Our leaders would like us to have us believe that everything we need to know is on the town website. Well, you only find out what they want you to know. And one of the things that I like to present is recently, as yesterday or this morning, there was a release from the town hall that Danvers DPW director departs amid ethics violation investigation. This is such an old news that has been kept under wraps, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but I believe that this is, again, another incident where the Danvers way is to sweep it under the rug.
I don't want anybody knowing.
And not let anyone know what's going on. But we'll get to it. The quote that I'm using, and the quote that I believe really represents a lot what's going on in our town, unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Now just think of what this really means, is we respect authority and we expect forthright information from our government, from our leaders, and we just saw a sweep of the select board. 2 out of 5 are missing and have been replaced, hopefully for the better. And that is a sign that the Danvers voters did not like what was going on in the past.
I agree with that. Another situation too. I have a funny feeling we wouldn't have found out about this if they didn't have. They filed. I guess he has to pay a certain amount of money, if I'm not mistaken, $17,000, something like that.
The Ethics Commission from the state
Right.
found out about it, and I am going to ask the town manager to give us an explanation of how did they find out about it, because I know the background of how this came about, because to my knowledge and to my involvement in the functions that have been developed in the DPW, which is measuring the electricity and measuring the water flow in and out of
Right.
our residences, are all based on this special contract or grant that was given to the town and some additional communities.
Okay.
But it was for $7 million at that time. $7 million needed to be matched by our funds, our fees and our taxes that we have incorporated, which was great. But the contract was written in such a way that it allowed the meters to be installed, and it needed a lot of software and a lot of manipulation of the information that was coming back from the meters to monitor our use of either power or water. And at that time, when this was about 10 years ago, and at that time, the concern was, why are they getting these smart meters? What do they want to watch? How much water we use? Can they shut off the water? That was a discussion that was taking place. But what happened is the contract was initiated, and the valves and the meters were purchased from this manufacturer, and that manufacturer fell into a warranty issue because all of the meters throughout this town failed. They had a problem, and they had to go and take them out and put new ones in. And that is still, I don't think it's settled.
No,
But that was the cause of a lot of this manipulation, and it's a temptation for people to get involved. And
here's the question: if that happened there, it could have happened how many places? It could have happened on the trash contract. How do we know? We
well,
don't know.
That's exactly the.
We don't know. On the road pavement, we don't know.
That's right.
And then they try to sweep this under the rug. The reason being, I'll be honest with you, I saw it on Facebook and it was a thing there, but you couldn't find it on Patch. The Salem News only had a small article.
Well, that's because the town hall
I'm thinking.
controls the disbursement of information. They want to keep everything close to their vest. We're going to continue on this because this is not over. The reason this came up is that 2 weeks ago, the Board of Selectmen and the town manager put on an executive
Right.
session at the end of the meeting to resolve some issue,
Right.
personnel issue. Well, this David Lane,
I can't believe they let him retire.
the director of DPW, is a direct employee to the town manager, not to the Board of Selectmen. The only person that reports to the Board of Selectmen is the town manager and the town accountant. So that was strange at that time, and nobody wanted to say anything. Now, this last meeting, day before yesterday, there was an outburst from the current Board of Selectmen, at least one,
Only one
that
person.
was outraged
Right.
with what happened and how it happened. And this, to me, and I don't know about you, Tony, but this stinks to heavens
Well, there's no question in my
because
mind.
it's something that is being swept under the rug. And that's the Danvers way, not to expose. Transparency doesn't exist in this town.
It has to, though. That's the way. That's the way you make things clean. You gotta let them know what
Well-
happened, see what's going on, clean it up. This way here, if they keep covering up and hiding, you keep wondering in your mind, what else is going on?
Well, today is the first time I saw, well, it's not the first time. I've seen this before. On June 5th, there was an article in Patch that was explaining this whole situation.
I didn't see it.
And,
I looked
and
for
they
it.
didn't get it right from the beginning.
Okay.
They only reported what the town hall gave them.
Okay, got it.
So you can keep that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Because I was looking, I didn't see anything.
Well, there's also another article that was written by the Herald. Boston Herald had
Oh,
it.
wow.
But the Patch and the Salem News do not have it.
Well, they don't
So,
have connections there.
Now you know where the both public newspapers are.
Right.
They're in cahoots with the advertisers. They don't care about the news. So, but
They should have
let's-
had a hearing on this, probably.
well, they should, and that's
Have a
what-
public hearing so everybody knows what's going on.
Well, the selectmen did not demand that.
They
when
should,
they had
honestly.
the executive session, and the town manager used the Board of Selectmen as cover for his actions, which he is responsible for, and not the Board of Selectmen. So, that's enough said for now. We'll get to this
Okay.
in a little more detail.
I understand. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, you know.
Town elected government believes that their purpose is to deliver more funding so our small town government will grow and spend more on itself. The general voters and taxpayers are tired of government creep. More taxes does not mean better government.
Not necessarily.
The town government is deaf to the issues that count. We are overtaxed and abused as ratepayers in the delivery of utility and basic services. We need relief. Now, Mr. Shalufo and Mr. Lane were also involved in the not a lawsuit, but a report to the Utilities Department in the state of Massachusetts in regard of spending utility dollars that were collected from the ratepayers
Okay.
on DPW projects, like the intersection at Summer
Right.
Street. That was $4 million. And that came out of yours and my...
Is that legal, though?
Well, that's what they get away with it. They were reported to the Department of Public Utilities. They took a year and a half to evolve this whole situation, and they basically said, okay, it's fine, but you need to do some small things to monitor this. But that's another issue that was exposed back in 2019, and nothing happened then either. This is to me, it's a criminal offense. Now, they've swept it under the rug to keep the retirement going for the two individuals that were involved.
Oh, there's two?
Well, Shalufo is one that was reported about 6 months ago, and ever since then, they finally got to David Lane, the Director of Public
I
Works.
didn't realize that, see?
Oh, no, we have a lot going on here.
Oh, I
But
didn't
the
know
thing
that.
is, we want to keep it hush-hush. So,
But isn't it better the people that pay the taxpayers should know what's going on?
why? Because they may object to it.
Well, that's it. We want to know what's going on, don't we? Because we
Yes,
know where
we-
our money is spent and what's going on. We have
That's-
to.
That's the reason I have decided to keep this show local, so we can talk about issues such as that, because unless it's exposed in the news media, and the news media doesn't exist.
Not really.
The Herald picked it up, about a month ago, and that became evident. So the town manager is at fault of this. And the thing is, he needs to step up to the plate and say, okay, I screwed up.
Why? How did he screw up, though? Explain that to me. But, I mean, he's responsible for
He
him.
should have fired David Lane on the spot.
Yeah, that should have happened, and they should have. I don't understand it, and they shouldn't give him his pension either, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's still to be determined. It's going to the pension or retirement board, and I'll bet you that's going to come up. But I don't know who's going to step up and question it.
But this is a black mark on the town of Danvers, basically, okay? And then on top of it, we don't know exactly if there was any more stuff that was going on. Who knows if when they were paving the roads, if they're getting paid back and all that stuff there. Who knows? We don't know.
Well, this used to be an issue in the past where it was exposed. There were employees that acquired telephone poles for their own use. But those were petty
Right.
things.
I mean, some things, you have to overlook some things. I'm not going to say you can't.
This deserves an investigation.
Yes, that I agree with.
The fine of $17,000 does not reflect the fraud that took place.
Right. Here's the question I have. $17,000. That doesn't come out of the town, does it?
Probably. Probably does. I don't know.
Well, no, we got to know that.
I'll ask the question.
Because the reason being, we got to know. I mean, if they got to take it out of the town, that's another story.
Well, then what we need to do is ask the question, and I'll follow that up. Now, the town went a step further for this town meeting. They directed the interested parties to the website for information related to the warrant articles. How do you like that? It did not work very well. Open meeting laws still prevail. And the thing is that the town hall is limiting the information that's released, and sometimes it becomes rumors, of course, but there are facts behind it, and those need to be put on the table. And the selectmen should demand that. They are the ones that are in charge, and
Doesn't seem that way, though. That's the problem.
well, it depends who's pulling what chain.
I understand.
So, I have several items that I've identified, and what we'll do is just go through this one quickly, because I hate to offend David Mills, because he at town meeting gave me hell that this is the last time he wants to hear anything about the trash tax.
Okay.
Well, I'm bringing it back up, David. Trash tax debate continues. What will actually happen? Do we need a referendum to eliminate this trash tax? Or do we need to change the Board of Selectmen? The Board of Selectmen has changed. And you have to ask yourself why. This deserves a hearing by the selectmen, and it deserves to be reconsidered by the current board, because there's too much money floating around as free cash and real estate tax money that we are consuming.
Another problem, Mark, is if they get away with this, what are they going to bring up next? That's the problem.
Well,
okay?
next is going to be an increase to $300 a year instead of $200.
It's just that enough is enough, man. Everybody has to live, okay? People that are retired, okay? They can't, they don't have an income to help them to move along, whatever. I mean, this town thinks everybody's rolling in money. I don't know where they come from. I don't know. Well, now we can see why. We got if we got the employees rolling around in money, that's the whole situation, I guess.
Well, the DPW is the largest budget consumer
Yes, it is.
of our real estate taxes and the state funding.
And with the water and the electric do it too, that's
Millions of
the
dollars.
point I'm getting
The
at.
electric is $40 million.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was part of that too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And he took care of the water also.
Yes, he did.
So all these questions come to mind. All the money they spent up at the water treatment plant. Oh my God, we got to start looking at all those slips.
Well, David screwed up. And it's very easy to do that because it's very tempting. And the thing is that he was a very good manager and he handled issues very well. But I also went, again, there's a, the landfill.
Yes,
the
that's what I was going to
dump,
bring up next, too.
The dump.
He handled that one, too.
The dump is another opportunity for fraud and corruption.
I agree with that.
That has gone into a $12 million funding mechanism and return of funds.
Cavanta's the one running that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, no. This is over and above Cavanta's. I mean, they do their own thing. I'm talking about the solar panel array and the backfill that they have devised to fill on top of the dump.
In other words, we have a big problem is what it comes down to. We have to look into a lot of stuff. I don't know, I'm hoping.
Well, the thing is, the Board of Selectmen needs to really address this. But going back to our trash tax.
Okay.
Trash tax or trash fee just became, because other communities have also imposed this fee on their residents, is not a good reason to proposing this for the town of Danvers. This is a tax. It is a diversion of an existing tax-supported service to a fee basis or tax basis.
And this company right now it's not doing too good. I'll be honest with you. They've been messing up a lot of stuff. I mean, you realize if you leave a box alongside the regular thing, they won't take the box?
Well, because the contract was negotiated by our DPW
yeah, but one little
director.
Box, one cardboard box sitting on the thing, why couldn't they take it? They leave it behind. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to tell you. We're paying more and more, and we're getting less and less, and we're getting more aggravation.
And the barrels that we bought through tax money.
Yeah, and I guess we got a grant for that, right?
Well, we got partial grant for
partial grant.
So, but let's move on. It is intended for more spending by the town manager. This Trojan horse is a deceitful 2.5% tax override without the legislative town meeting approval. This proposal has been tried before and has been waved in front of us for years by Wayne Marquis, and even the last few years when Steve came on, they also mentioned that in the budget letter that was
So in other words, they were planning this all along, basically.
Of course they did. But it was not permitted at that time. Now that the legislature, our representative and our senator, have approved and consummated the trash collection fee that they impose, they allowed the mayors to do it for all the cities and towns. Now, the town, well, we had different issues in our town. We had too much money floating around as free cash, and they grabbed this as an opportunity to fund the trash contract. The trash contract did go up, but it can be managed within the responsibility of the town manager.
Now
Why can't he be held accountable?
Yes. Now we have another question. Was it done in the proper and right way? I mean, the person, from what I can see, has a black mark that did this contract. I don't know if he was the only one that worked on it or not.
No, it was done by committee. The town manager doesn't do anything without cover, and he did this with the DPW as the negotiator of the contract.
Which the DPW would have been David Lane.
Yes. And he also used the Board of Selectmen when they had to authorize him to go and impose that fee, because he even asked at a meeting, I need your support for this, because he finally found out that he could not do it by his
That was
own.
a 3-2 vote that they took.
That's right.
And it's always a 3-2 vote. And right now, I don't know.
It's
this
no
town,
different.
no kidding. We have to get this town back on track. We
Okay.
have to.
So, now for the last time, David Mills, I am going to show a defund our bloated town management to fund trash tax costs. Now, this was a prop that I prepared way back during the special town meeting. And I even put 2 of those signs down by the door of
I remember that.
the town high school. And I had no comments.
No.
No comments. But the thing is that this is a funding mechanism for our trash tax that we have imposed on our residents. We should, the town management, composed of just over 20 people that are either directors or managers,
Is there $1.4 million there though
is
to get out?
worth no that contract that those salaries are worth over $4 million. Now, it's not the place to take it, but it's a start.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And
if
we
you could
need-
save, 400 or 500, I mean, you know what I mean, whatever, anything,
That's right. So
Anything's to help.
the poster is still in my truck, and I will use this as long as I can because this is a true representation of how this thing should have been managed and not the way it is. Now, I have a long dissertation about this tax being a Danvers is taxing us without representation, basically, because our community has always been responsive to the needs of all our tax-paying residents. However, because of local and state legislative actions, in collusion with the cover of the clandestine legislative action, our Board of Selectmen orchestrated this increase by instigating management action to raise our taxes. There was never a resistance to this fee, tax, whatever you want to call it. The
I don't
Board
think-
of Selectmen liked it.
No one really understood it, the way they brought it out. It was like a hidden thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't even know about it. When you talk to them, they didn't even know what we're talking about.
Well, the follow-up to our town meeting, we have town charter review debate
Yes.
coming to Danvers. Town moderator is to open the town charter document and address the current issues. We hope and pray that the town moderator has the courage to appoint the right people to this committee.
She's the one that appoints everybody?
Yes, she does.
Does the Board of Selectmen have any sayings like that? Or I don't know.
Board of Selectmen has influence, but the influence is lagging because this should have been set up by the Board of Selectmen. And it was proposed by Dan Bennett, which was a great idea, Dan. Now we need to make sure that we get the right people on this.
Exactly. We can't have another sweep under the rug thing. You know what I mean?
That's
the
exactly where
problem.
I was going.
Okay? We can't have that.
Warrant articles need to be advanced to town meeting for action, and they have been. Selectmen have an opportunity to become leaders. The town charter is long overdue for a reboot. Do we want to become a city? That's a question that has to be asked.
Exactly, because we're going that way.
With all the restrictions and duties imposed by the state legislature. Now, the town charter is subject to a total review, and if the residents, the voters, want to change the charter from town charter with a strong town manager where the selectmen authorize him to do their dirty work because they don't want to get involved. So they let the town manager do whatever he needs to, but all they're responsible for is providing him additional funds. So that's the reason that is an issue. Now, when the charter is a city charter, it's composed of, let's say, I just worked with the Amesbury town charter Oh, a city charter.
Is that city or a town?
City now. It's
Is it-
the smallest city
Oh, okay.
in the
What's the-
state of Massachusetts,
Amesbury. Okay.
and it's 14,000 people in that town, that city. And we have 28,000. That's what they claim. So the city obtains greater access to state funding and grants because they encompass a larger community than the townies, basically. So it may be a positive, maybe a negative, but it has to be considered. So Pat Frazier has a tremendous, burden on her shoulders
Yes.
because this town charter has a lot of questions, and I have already prepared a document that raises some of those questions, and I'll submit it to her. So, what are we going to do? We're going to have to get this charter committee set up very quickly.
Right, but
And
I hope with the right they put the right people in place. You know what I'm trying to get at? I don't
Well-
know. Because you can see in this town, a lot of things sometimes they just don't work out the way they're supposed to be.
That's
Yeah,
right.
intentions are right, everything's there, but it seems like it gets washed up.
Well, the thing is that we trust, and like I'm going back to my original statement, on thinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Now, this is a partial explanation of what's going on now with the DPW and other functions. So, we need to keep an eye on it.
Exactly.
And that's where the selectmen have to step in, and they have to start investigating this instead of rubber stamping and allowing things to happen.
Right.
And Maureen Bernard had the right attitude at the last
The
meeting.
only one that spoke up. The only
And
one.
she raised the issue because the rest of the board is in compliance with the town manager, and they just let things go on. So, Maureen, maybe what we need to do is get a big broom.
I'm hoping that even with this new board we got, with these two new people, that we can actually go forward in the right direction instead of 3-2 rubber stamp all the time. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for. We need. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a big. I'm hoping that it's what's going to happen.
Now, I have topic number 2, which I entitled Danvers Way Sweep Issues Under the Rug. This is a continuation of
Seems that way.
the issues that have been happening, and we don't know a lot of the
Right.
things that are happening because that's how they like it.
The question I have: when they went to an executive session, shouldn't they have explained why it was executive session?
Nobody demands
But I mean, I
minutes
don't
of
know.
the meeting. Nobody asks for the minutes of that meeting.
But is there supposed to be minutes of the meeting? I don't know.
They are minutes of the meeting. The only thing is that they never release them because they think it's only for the use of the town management and the
Select board.
cover of the town employee. Now, this recall petition that was going on,
Yeah. What happened with that?
nothing.
Nothing happened to it.
No, they left that one at the doorstep of town meeting, and they said, okay, we'll just consider it during the town charter review. That'll never see the daylight of
See, but that's what's happening here.
and there was so much work put into it.
Yes, that kid did a good job, and I mean, I have to praise him. I mean, he did a good job. I mean, he did a lot of work to it. I mean,
And he deserves to
he
have
deserves
it in
it,
place.
and I think they should be in place. What is wrong with that?
Well, let's continue about sweeping things under the rug. I went and looked at the annual audit report
Okay.
that the town and our auditor that's paid good money to do an investigation of what's going on with the funding
Okay.
There was nothing in there about any hanky-panky going on with the DPW.
Oh, they can't put
or
that
the
down.
meters. Yes, that's what they're supposed to do.
They would drop them down instead of a triple A, be double A.
No funding reported in audit report. No finding was
see.
reported. What about the ethics and bribery allegations that happened in 2020? There was earlier part.
Really?
There were, and they need to be exposed. I'm going to put in a Freedom of Information request in regards to both Mr. Shalufo, who was the director of the of the electric company,
Okay.
and or even he even had a hand in the water department.
Okay.
So, and it gives a bad flavor to the rest of the employees because they work so hard to get our services in place, and they are very dependable. But the management team needs to be defunded, and that's exactly what happens. Ethics violation uncovered and finally reported. It took years to get to this point. Tax collection, maximum levy capacity. That's another thing that was devised by the Board of Selectmen at one time, back about 15 years ago. They doctored up the budget to be right up to the level of the levy capacity for the real estate taxes, and there was only about $10,000, $20,000 left in the levy capacity. But they felt that this was the way to get the maximum money from our real estate revenue that is collected from your pocket and my pocket, and that is the free cash that's declared at the end of the budget process in July.
But it's like you said too. Even an electric light and all that stuff, when they make extra money, they should give it back to us, but they don't.
Oh, I know the drill on that one.
That's what I'm trying to say. You see what I'm getting at? So they overbill us instead of giving it back to us. They use it somewhere else, and
Well,
then they need more next year.
The electric company itself, and I've been struggling with this issue for the last 10 years. There is a $20 to $25 million
did tell me that.
excess in their bank account.
And they say they need in case of an emergency.
That's always an emergency.
Yes.
And it's only to fund their retirement fund, to fund their basic benefits, and that is used out of our collected.
Right. But they're not supposed to show profit, right?
They're supposed to show a 2.5 or 3% profit,
And that's it.
and that's it. And they are allowed to keep that $20 to $25 million. And I've been at meetings, and they know what I asked for,
But
and they provide the information, and it's always been there. So that's another issue, and the school budget is another one
yeah, I know.
where no controls are
Mhm.
basically the school budget is growing without restraint.
Yes.
Schools are opened and operated by the state. Now we have to start learning that the school system that we have is not the Danvers school system.
Doesn't feel
It's
that
the
way.
state of Massachusetts
Yes.
school system.
And did I hear that Mr. Lopes is the chair now, I believe, right?
Yes.
I did hear that. I read it
Yes.
somewhere.
And he was very attractive in the way he responded to some of the issues at the school committee, but he has changed. They both the
I remember watching him one time, man. I thought he was, wow, the answer for Danvers.
Right.
I
He-
swear to God.
and then he swallowed the pill.
Yes, I think so. I don't know
On-
what, they must have gave him the Kool-Aid.
The only function of the school committee and the town is to assure tax support. And this year they gave away 6.5% towards the school budget. And I don't know whether we'll see any results of
And
that.
if I'm not mistaken, too, they just did budget contracts. We don't even know what the thing of the contracts. They haven't brought it up yet. They talked at the selectmen meeting.
That's right.
There's a lot of contracts up, so we don't even know how much more they're going to need. That's another problem.
Well, that money is already reserved in the stepped-up budget that they have.
You think so?
presented. Oh, yes. Oh,
Maybe
yes.
another trash fee?
I can find it. I can find it.
Okay, I don't know.
The thing is that they played this game, and they have a certain amount in reserves, and that is what's available for the contract.
So it's already there then, is what you're saying.
The money's already there. It has not been dispersed.
Right, and we don't know what they got, too, if it's 2 or 3%.
Right.
We don't know that either, right?
Yeah. Annual budget presentation and review conducted without questions. There are very few questions that were asked. So, there is an opportunity for the Board of Selectmen to step up and find out what the hell is going on. Is the town manager doing the job that they have hired him for? Because he is responsive only to the Board of Selectmen, and every employee, 743 employees in this town, report directly or indirectly to the town manager because of the funds.
Okay, I'm going to say this one again. I know you're not going to like it. We should pay the selectmen more so they can do a better job and have a better handle on things.
The selectmen have to finally grow up to be responsible citizens. And the thing is that they are there for only one purpose, and it is for their resume building. I don't know what. It doesn't make
Look,
any sense.
I understand, but it is a lot of work. I'm not going to say. I mean, I watch those meetings and stuff like that. A lot of work that they do and look over papers. I mean, that's why I think they should get paid more. I'm being honest with you, okay?
Well,
I'm not talking a lot of money, but something that maybe would make them care more and watch out for the town better. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. I'm being honest.
We need new selectmen. That's what we need.
We know that, too.
That's what we need. We don't need the 18-year selectman on the board, or now we have 12-year selectmen on the board, and we need to clean house.
That was a prayer from God.
It was, and we have another option this coming year.
Yes.
There's 2 more coming up.
And hopefully we can get Select Board on track.
There you go. All right, so now that we're into the short strokes of the show, I just want to present some update in regard to the Beverly Airport. And I'll let you do a lot of the talking, but I have some facts that I want to deliver. Beverly Airport update. Film recording the citizens' concerns has been archived for all of to see on DCAT, Topics of the Town News presentations. Now, there's been a uprising or understanding by the chairman of the Airport Commission. He's finally asking the questions of, what are the concerns? Where have they been all this time? The concerns are placed in the minutes of the meeting, and they are in writing. You have done it. I have done it. Joe Rinaldi has done it.
Joe called me today.
Yeah, we need to get him addressed.
Yes.
Because right now, what we're talking about is my first item on my list is jetport expansion.
Yes.
And noise from overflights of prop and jet planes.
Yes. Now listen, from what I understand, I got a call from someone. They are in a butter. They got a letter, okay? So the 11th, on June 11th, I believe it's at Town Hall, okay? It's the planning board. They're going in front of the planning board for the jetport hangars. We need as many people as we can to get over there if they want to stop this. The gentleman that called me today is getting all kinds of flyers. He's going to go around giving them out, okay? But people have to wake up, okay? If they don't want this, we're going to become a little mini Logan Airport if we don't wake up and take care of this, okay? We need the people to help us out, step up to the meeting, and show that we are not happy with this. It's not what we want. If they want to put hangars in, let them put them over in Beverly. Let them do all the noise in Beverly. Danvers.
No, they don't belong here at all.
Exactly. At least if they're going to do it in Beverly.
Well, they have issues. The meeting on June 11th is by the planning board, and it's a site plan review.
Yes.
And the meeting, I believe, is typically at the senior center.
No, this one is going to be at the. He told me there was going to be at the Toomey room.
Okay, we're going to have to confirm that. We're going to have
That
to
I'm pretty sure.
put a news release on
The
it.
23rd. On the 23rd,
Yeah.
they're going in front of the Conservation Commission.
Again.
Yes, again. Which they already shut them down. I don't know why they're going there again. Okay, and that is at Senior Center. Okay, and that's on the 23rd. Okay, so we need as many people as we can to step up to that one. Otherwise, I'm telling you, here we go. If they're not even taking care of the stuff that we have all the runoff of water for all these properties. The place is contaminated up there, okay? We have to do some research before we give an okay to anything. I don't understand what's going on. The town, again, is sleeping, okay? They have to wake up and help us.
Okay, now let me just fill
Break it
you
down.
in on my topics that I'm interested in, and I'm interested in from the engineering standpoint, the noise, the overflights, because being at home now, I sit at my computer or I sit at my dining room table, I see the jets coming through
It's
now.
more and more. It's
They
getting
all
noisier.
going from Beverly Airport northwest and coming back the same direction.
Yes. It's a lot more lately.
Noise
It's-
from
it's too much.
overflights and of prop and jet planes, pollution, noise, leaded fuel, quality of life issues need to be considered. Fuel tank and location at the current outline of the hangars that they're proposing on the west side of the airport are directly over the location of the fuel depot. Now, that had to have a special permit for storage of fuel at the west end of the airport, and they located it in such a way that it would be away from traffic and away from planes. They would transport the fuel to the plane when they needed it. Nobody ever even said anything about it when they were looking at the plans for the hangar. Now, the hangar itself is 135 feet wide, 300 feet long, 45 feet high. It's a football field with bleachers all around. So, fuel tank and location, proximity to conservation wetlands. There again, it is not totally out of the wetlands. Overall impact on Danvers, overflights and residents. Runway expansion leads to jetport. Heavier, larger jets at BVY, Beverly Airport. Now, I have a note here, and I'm gonna put it on.
Go ahead, put it on.
Mayor Cahill needs to stick his head up from below the cover of the commission and say, stop this expansion for the good of all our residents and taxpayers.
Yes.
We are definitely tired of presenting these issues, and the commission is afraid of making a decision because they want to step away from the master plan, because the last master plan 20 years ago was implemented and they got their 5,001 foot runway, which was the designated runway for the jets. Now they want to go to 5,601 feet, which would give them the ability to take off and land heavier and larger business jets. And I don't mean that they're going to be a Boeing 747
Right, exactly.
or something like that. But these planes are very noisy.
Exactly. That's the point. That's why the town of Danvers has to wake up. I don't understand why they're all sleeping. I mean, they let everything go by. It's ridiculous. Okay? Even just Saturday, okay? This Saturday, okay, we had early in the morning, of course, Saturday. Remember now, they gave us paperwork. Calm winds runway is supposed to be 116. They're on 27 the whole morning, okay? 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 They're on 27 the whole morning, okay? Making noises for everything. And then my wife happened to write an email, okay?
That's directly over the high school.
Yes,
That's
in that
the
area
runway.
there.
Yep.
Exactly. So they're supposed to be taking care of us. They're not taking care of us. Okay? Mr.
Well-
Castlewarm at least was nice enough to look into it and to help us out. Okay? Instead, he got in trouble for it.
Well, it's okay. Then somebody needs to stand up for us, and present the views. And I just want to give the current chairman of the airport commission. All of a sudden, after my outburst at the last commission meeting,
Yes.
where I complained that every single public comment, and they allow you a public comment, and they limit you to 2 minutes or
Yes.
whatever it
They're
is,
learning from Danvers.
and they shut you up if you go over it. I insist on getting these comments acted upon. And what I tried to suggest to the commission last meeting, and to force them into addressing these comments instead of filing them in the round basket, because none of them ever see the air or light of day.
I think it's starting to act like the town of Danvers.
That's right. They do the same thing.
That's it.
The Board of Selectmen do the same thing. All they do
Sad.
is give you an opportunity to air your concerns, but they don't do anything about them.
They don't do anything about it.
So, I have today submitted a
It's funny that he called you, because the reason being he called me too. He wanted me to give him a call. He wanted to talk to me. I think they're trying to calm us down. They want to try to get the hangers in. It's got to be what it is. Okay?
well, that's
They're trying
okay.
to pacify us, you know?
The hangars are not going in unless there's a definite change in what's going on. The hangars are a avenue for larger, heavier, and bigger jets.
And the people don't want it.
Well, people don't want it, but
They have to show up. That's the
That's
problem.
the thing.
Okay?
we need to get them to the meeting. And I think the next meeting is,
Monday there's an airport meeting, which well, no one really goes to that except for me and you.
which is the
The airport
10th?
meeting is yeah, I think it's the 10th. And
10th.
then on
The
Tuesday, the
11th.
11th is the one,
Right.
the important one. The 11th is the important one.
And I think what needs to be proposed is that the flight level aviation needs to withdraw that plan altogether.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Because they're just wasting their money, and it's their money. The problem is that people don't want it. Let's put it on the Beverly side.
Exactly.
And even then, it should not
No.
be there, because all that does is invite bigger, heavier, and noisier jets.
Right, but put it over there. Let the Beverly people worry about it.
They
Let them
won't-
complain.
They won't complain. They won't put it there.
They say there's no complaints. I find it hard to believe, because when I talk to people from Beverly, they complain.
Well, okay, so I just wanted to give you an idea of, I submitted, I think 3 or 4 pages worth of comments that I've been making along, and my comments go back to the comments of the residents when the master plan was presented. And they did allow the residents to sit down and view and comment on the master plan, but they didn't do anything about it.
Right.
They just rammed it down their throat, and FAA said, okay. So we
Something's
need
not right here.
to address this thing to FAA and to the EPA. which is the Environmental Protection
Protection
Agency,
Agency.
because we as a town have submitted 2 warrant articles that were approved at town meeting.
This
One
was-
of them was to improve and exercise our rights with the pilot program,
Yes.
which is payment in lieu of taxes,
Right.
because every year we forgive whatever the stipend.
$7,000.
Well,
big
deal. That's
nothing.
a old number that's been in place because they gave us the opportunity to have 2 commissioners sitting on the agenda on the meeting. The second one is a increase of to perform an environmental impact study, and they provide a report of the entire impact of what's coming from the airport.
That should have been done on the other thing. The selectmen fell asleep. Okay, they should have insisted on that. They asked for it, didn't get it. They should have.
Watch your language.
I apologize.
Watch your language.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I
so,
apologize. Getting carried away.
but the commissioners have also asked, what are we asking for? Oh, they know exactly
Yeah.
what we're asking for.
We want to know if the place is contaminated, the runoff, so on
And-
and so forth. There's a lot over there. You know that.
And the warrant articles.
The problem is, if they do one of those, they'll probably close them down.
Well, they limit their use, absolutely.
That's the
And
problem.
the thing is that they need to stand up and say, hey, we need to do this to protect our residents.
Yes.
And it's a safety and health safety issue. Okay, so we have 2 or 3 minutes left,
Yes, you do.
but I will share some of these comments with Kyle, our chairman, and I will be there on Monday morning.
Yes.
Oh, Monday evening.
Yes.
And
6
the
o'clock.
meeting is at the airport on the Beverly side, east side, and it's in the conference room at
Yes.
6 p.m.
Yes, it is.
So, and we have been forced into attending the 6 p.m. meeting because now I can't attend the school committee meeting because
Right.
they run it at the same time.
And you hear the town halls thinking of the selectmen's going to go to 6 o'clock too? They're talking about it.
Well, what are they looking for? Are they looking for sleep
Well,
deprivation or what? I mean,
I think maybe, yeah.
I think they're getting older
Well, that's true.
and they need a nap.
Yeah, I know. But then again, I don't know. It makes a big difference.
Well, I'm telling you, when the select board was active and they cared about what's going on, some of those meetings went to 1 o'clock in the
Yes, I know. I've seen a lot of those.
morning, and I've sat through those.
Yes.
Okay, so letters from the public, several long outstanding questions raised by our audience.
Okay.
Town staffing. Town staffing, I requested a report of the turnover
Okay.
of the town
Okay.
personnel, and I have that report, and we'll talk about that
Okay.
at another
Did you also
meeting.
get the salaries?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I want that one.
Yeah, I have the salaries. I have the 100 highest salaried people,
Okay.
and I have the salaries for the management and directors. But there's also a salary report that gives you the highest to the lowest.
Okay.
And of course, the police are on the top because they do a lot of
Overtime and stuff like that.
And but the town manager is right on top too.
Oh, yeah. There's no question about it in my mind. 1 minute left.
So 1 minute left. I think this relates back to the employee morale,
Okay.
and the town employees are not happy with what's going on with the management team, and we need to improve that. And maybe we need to raise this to the Board of Selectmen.
I agree with that because I talked to a lot of people that work for the town. And a lot of them really not too happy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sad. You know what I mean? Is the morale is not how
Tony,
it should
what
be.
have you got for closing comments?
Closing comments. We need help. We need people to step up to these meetings because otherwise we're gonna have jets in our backyard like crazy. We're gonna have fumes. Okay, so we need help. Okay, we got a meeting coming up on Tuesday, and one on the 23rd. Okay, we need help. We need people to show up and support their opinion on what they want to, if they want Danvers to become mini Logan. That's basically what it comes down to.
Pass the word around to your neighbors and your compadres.
Yeah, definitely.
Good night, Danvers. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the third Thursday of the June, and then we'll cut off for the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Danvers. What do you think, Mr. Castle?